This is Operation Conspiracy Theory, and we hit first. We're gonna hit hard too. Is the United States purposely harming the citizens of Jersey with pathogens, bacteria, or viruses? They use the term sterilize the Delta. ATC says it again, and then tells them they need to sterilize the air. Are they sterilizing the air over Jersey after those drones spray their mist?
After you leave, Columbus is going to sterilize the Class Delta as of 0330 Zulu. Patterson Class Delta is closed after your transition. I'm sorry about that. You got another traffic. Can you say again? Yes, sir. Your transition is still approved. However, Patterson Class Delta is sterilized as of 0330 Zulu for heavy unknown UAS activity. Handling it, and Columbus is going to sterilize the airspace, and Columbus is going to sterilize the airspace, and Columbus is going to sterilize the airspace, and Columbus is going to sterilize the airspace after you leave the Delta. Roger that, no problem, thank you. All aircraft use extreme caution. Patterson Class Delta is now closed for heavy UAS activity.
There's the drone, he's been there for about 15 minutes now. There's stuff spraying out of them.
And then it's actually hit with a missile, two of them are, and they are affected by it, but then seemingly unaffected. And then it's actually hit with a missile, two of them are, and they are affected by it, but then seemingly...
This is a person, you know, using a telephoto lens camera, and you can see here in their viewfinder what they're seeing. Do those look like drones to you? Like something like right out of the Bible. Look at these. This is over New Jersey.
Now, really strange, seemingly purposefully ambiguous responses from government and media personnel. You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct? That's right. That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are.
I issued a letter to ask for more information, and I think there should be a lot more transparency about it.
Because I think people in New York picture the drones the size of an SUV over their house every night.
These drones appear to be sophisticated. They are very large drones, and they are hovering precariously close to very sensitive sites, including military sites.
Swarms of drones the size of small cars have been spotted over parts of New Jersey, alarming local residents.
How is it possible that everyone from the New Jersey governor to the FBI have no idea what these are?
Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey,
Swarms of drones the size of small cars have been spotted over parts of New Jersey, alarming local residents.
I look to my left and I see two big drones. They were propeller driven, going very slowly.
And unnerving lawmakers who say they popped up in at least 10 counties. The issue prompting a meeting Wednesday attended by roughly 100 mayors and state representatives.
Are you telling me that in America, somebody can start flying drones and we have no clue what's going on?
Garden state leaders say they're confounded by the federal government's response and that of their own governor, who's preaching calm. Perhaps even more concerning, military officials say they've documented at least 11 unauthorized drone incursions over nearby Picatinny Arsenal, a weapons development center, and Bedminster Golf Club is also in the area. Local police have been launching their own drones into the sky to give chase.
And look at that, although it wasn't a bomb, there is a whole bunch of nuclear material that went missing recently, which supports my theory that the drones were sniffing for it. There's some people on Reddit that owe me an apology.
I worked at the National FBI Joint Session Task Force, and we did a lot of intelligence gathering regarding the border. And our fear was that someone would walk in with a dirty bomb, or someone would walk in with a powerful weapon. Wow. And at least when I was there was no evidence that that was happening, but it doesn't mean it didn't happen, okay? Wow. That all these years, maybe, you have cells being created all over the place. Now, only the FBI and the CIA, et cetera, know that right now, but saying that, we need to be vigilant. You see something, say something. Very important at this time in history of our history. And secondly, our government needed to take action a long time ago to shut that border down. We see it's going to happen soon. But believe me when I tell you that when it comes to the national security of the United States, we're going to see some very significant changes for the good down the road. Unfortunately, it got to this point, but you know who rose to the occasion? The American people.
Fire officials are telling local first responders that if there is a downed drone, stay away. They shared an 8-point list of guidelines that say not to approach it and to stay more than 300 feet away. Downed drones should not be approached. It goes on to advise firefighters to stay back more than 300 feet in all directions, use their full protective equipment, notify law enforcement and the FBI, and request hazardous materials response. It also says to request the nearest bomb squad. The last recommendation says electronic devices and two-way radio systems may malfunction in the immediate area.
I try zooming in my camera all the way up to the drone. This is what I get. The round, shield around it. Fucking nuts. Well, right, that's zoomed in, 208. And I'll show you the drone right now. Up inside.
Okay. We have more video that you sent us of you, in fact, trying to launch a drone, and it was right near an airport. So tell us what happened there and why it's so noteworthy.
Okay, so we got reports last night that there was a lot of drone activity in the East Hanover area, which is backs up to Morristown Airport and all that vicinity. So we head out there, we set up in a parking lot about a quarter mile away from the airport, and I'm trying to get flight clearance to pick the drone up and see what this other drone is, and I cannot. At one point it even asked for my phone number, and I said, no, I think we're good at this point.
Alright, trace one. What's that? I'm not really sure. There's another one. There's another one.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because it was the enemy that blasted out. Even if they were late, they blasted. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should.
An extremely important response to the drone hysteria taking place across the United States right now. There is no mystery. The mystery is solved. These are drones. These are human-made. The Pentagon knows exactly where they're coming from, where they're going. Mystery of the UAV drone hysteria solved, and I laid out the legislation they're trying to pass right now that would ban all civilian use of drones, have a monopoly of big corporations and government over it. This is a big deal. This is a PSYOP ahead of Trump getting in 34 days. From all the research and sources I have a lot of Pentagon sources, a lot of corporate sources in aeronautics, space aeronautics, that confirm this is a giant PSYOP, and that's happening. This is a giant PSYOP, just like all this different crap. And we're going to keep watching this whole UAP, UFO hysteria very, very closely with live reports here.
You may have noticed unusual lights in the sky the last few days. This is a video sent in by an NBC5 viewer over the Canadian border. This was last night in Brushton, New York. We've also heard reports of these lights in Vermont.
And one of the latest sightings was actually here in Ohio.
Yeah, that's right, Kristen. It happened late Friday night at Wright-Patterson Air Force just outside of Dayton. Daily News reports that the base says no property was damaged and no one was harmed. I went to the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. They were unable to talk to us, but we did talk to a few people who live in the area. Nobody I spoke with saw the drones Friday night, but they were familiar with the sightings on the East Coast. Tyler Morgan lives near Wright-Patterson's Air Force Base and was surprised to find out the airspace was shut down for around 4 hours, and he was first hearing about it 2 days later.
Is it possible that some of those drones could be up to malign activity? It's entirely possible, but the vast majority, that is not the case. In the case of drones flying near or over U.S. military installations, that in and of itself, just given the volume of drone flights we see on a given day, is not something that's new. We take all of those seriously. We will typically, when we detect them, attempt to classify them and take appropriate measures. Is it possible that some of those are surveilling? Absolutely.
I've worked with a man who is a senior engineer at the Lockheed Skunk Works in a place called the Cube under the desert in California. And in that area, they had people hooked up to electronic devices where they didn't need a drug. They could do it electronically, where they could tap into these other dimensions, not extraterrestrials, and bring those monsters into the lab. And they would come from one dimension into 3D and be running around. Now, I know this sounds like something like out of Stranger Things, but guess what? Those guys listen to what I've been saying over the years, and they turn it into these fictional, silly movies and shows. Why are they deliberately mushing all this together? Because it creates the specter of fear. And as Goebbels says, it's not, Hitler's propaganda guy
fear of the unknown. They're trying to write the new cosmology and set themselves up as the saviors. It makes perfect sense.
Well, yeah, because then people also, remember, people give up their freedom and their power when they're afraid, and they run to Big Brother. And so they want to create this sort of global Big Brother that everyone will bow down to. And what better way to do it than to have something that they claim is the entire Earth? The public, by being brainwashed, but that's a warm-up to what's coming. And we're like Paul Revere here when we said the British are coming. We're trying to warn people. We're cosmic Paul Revere's, you and me. Where we're trying to say, look, there's this hoax, cosmic, that they have been planning for 75 years, and now they're starting to unfurl it in the mid-1950s. I have a document from the CIA director at that time stating explicitly, and this is in my book, Unacknowledged, that, and the documentary as well, it would be doing with the UFO subject. So unfortunately, the public, through, as you pointed out, Hollywood group now, but there's one cell of it that are beginning to, quote, leak, which aren't leaks at all. Footage like you've been showing from the CNN and news around the world. And invariably, you'll see that the near Pensacola craft, very close to us, 4 of them. And this ended up on the front page of the Pensacola.
And now the former head of Israeli intelligence came out, as you know, last month and said, we're in contact with them, we're working with them since Eisenhower. Now, whether that's true or not, the big disclosure you predicted is here. You said there'd be a false disclosure 20 years ago. And I would listen to you on big national shows like Art Bell and then George Norrie, and I thought this guy sounds credible.